Oh, hello.
Hello,
Welcome to Mental Men.
welcome. Today we're talking about death.
Jesus.
Why do you say Jesus? Are you scared of it or what?
Am I scared of death?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Why?
Well, mostly I worry about it now a lot more recently, it seems like, because just thinking about like if I passed away, like I wouldn't have had enough influence on my kids, and I just want them to be okay. So,
Yeah, I guess dying like when your kids are super young, that would be must be super hard for a kid, right?
oh yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this is because I have my surgery on Thursday. And, like, there's a part of me that's just like, oh, well, what if I don't make it? And what is my legacy?
Are
That's,
you actually concerned about that? I thought it was like a
yeah.
simple.
Well, you hear stories all the
I guess that's
time.
true. Yeah, they might leave some scissors inside you or something. And be like, "Well, stitch them
Like,
up."
Bob went for a simple surgery
Yeah,
and
it's true.
didn't actually leave. So, that, I mean, it's in the back of my mind, right?
Yeah.
And I'm only 40. So, it does bring home the sense that everything is finite and ephemeral and passing in a way. And that scares me. But I think now way more understanding of it, but growing up, I think that I really had a sense of anxiety
Yeah.
because it can come at any point, right?
I would
So,
say one of the few things about it that gives me comfort is because Ash works in a lot of like retirement homes and stuff like that, is people who get like really old, like into their 90s and stuff. A lot of them are like, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready.
yeah,
And so it's kind of like,
yeah, because as you
there's
get,
a little bit of comfort that it's kind of like, because right now you're not ready.
yeah,
But yeah,
true, yeah. But what if you're not ready, but
I'm
then
sure there's, I'm sure that lots of people feel that way.
it's most of people, isn't it?
I don't
I,
know.
I
Well, not
wish I
that
had more time.
we're living longer than we ever had before, so I don't know.
Very true. Yeah. Yeah. What was the average age like in the 1400s was like 41 or something? Like it
Yeah,
was
yeah. But,
primarily because of all the
the
deaths
infant deaths,
during
yeah.
infant deaths. Yeah. That just kind of lowered.
Yeah, I always used to think, because, they talk about, like, way before then, like BC and all that, and they'd be like, oh, the average age was, like, 20 years old. And I was like, people just, what, you reached 20 and you looked like an old person? Like, it confused me so much.
Yeah. It's like,
So
no, you were sent to war.
globally, like it was around 32 years in 1900.
32 years
32
in
years.
1900?
Yeah, to over 70 years in 2021.
Damn.
Yeah, it's like, I looked at it literally the other day. It's like 74 or something in Canada. And I want to say it's like in Japan, it's like 81.
Yeah.
That's the average. Like, that's insane.
Yeah. And women live longer, usually like 2 or 3 years more, right?
Yeah, after I finished my practicum, I used to always say it's just like, 'cause so much of what you do on the ambulance is just you take old people to the hospital who don't need to go to the hospital, but it is what it is anyways.
Yeah.
But I used to be say like, at least men have the decency to die. Women, they just live forever.
Did you ever see anyone die in front
Yeah, I
of
saw
you?
one guy die, yeah.
How many?
Just one.
What happened?
He was in cardiac arrest. He was query for a pacemaker. Too late.
And what was your feeling, a reaction to that?
I don't know. I didn't really feel anything at the time.
So
I just
didn't-
couldn't believe what like how aggressive it is in the code room and all that, and how like intense the whole situation is, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine like you're dealing with that every day as a doctor and stuff, like in
Oh,
the
it'd be-
ER and like,
And this is the thing too, is like you watch these shows and then they're all rushing around and all this, and there is that, but the doctor who's controlling it, they just stand back. And they're just like, you do this, you do this, you do this, because they need to control the entire situation and watch everything. And yeah,
So they're like directing the...
exactly.
I
They're
see.
like literally like standing back with their like arms crossed, like
Yeah.
this.
So do they probably just treat it just as a job, right? Like don't take anything personal.
There's like exactly. It's kind of like you read it and these are the steps.
Yeah. So do you think they're like haunted by those people? Like as a ER doctor, for example? Like,
Some, I'm sure. Like, there's a thing with like paramedics and like little kids. You know, it's like you never want to treat a little kid. You never want to even see one because it's the thing that sticks with you. And you know, I'm sure because the population is aging, they probably have somebody in the code room every single day who's like 80. You know,
80 what?
80 years old.
Oh, like 80 people? Yeah. What do you ever think about it?
I did.
Yeah.
So I kind of mentioned, I used to, so when my grandma passed away in 2018, I was really close to my grandma, and yeah, I mean, it affected me, and I thought about it, and it's like, oh, like, I'm never going to see her again. And then, Brad, you probably remember more than Jordan would. Do you remember there was a woman and her little girl, daughter, like her ex-boyfriend kidnapped them, killed them, left the girl's body in like a field. Do you remember that vaguely?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds
was
like a
all
story
over
I've
the
heard a million
Calgary
times,
news.
but yeah.
Yeah. For whatever reason, that affected me where all I could think about was like, because they had footage of the little girl. And all I could think about was like, this girl is going to be laying in the ground at 9 years old or whatever she is. And the world's just going to pass by and forget about her. Right? So my fear was always like, well, one day that's going to be me and the world's just going to keep going.
Yeah.
And I'm nothing. I'm just like dust in the wind. Like, I just like, okay, yeah, everybody's moving on. They're going to
Yeah.
cry for me for one day and then move on.
Yeah.
Which, right? So I went through like major panic attacks. Like I had to go to the hospital. I thought I was having a heart attack, and they're like, "No, it's a panic attack." So you know,
You mean that was from the death?
like me thinking about death. Like that was the first time where it was like, because like my grandfather died, and I was pretty young, and it didn't really affect me like when my grandma died. I was
Yeah.
a little older, and then like I was single, so it was like, you know, I'm getting older, single, I'm gonna die alone, kind of thing. And then like I had panic attacks, so that's what kind of really triggered my thoughts of death.
And what were you panicking about?
That I was just gonna die. Like my life was coming to an end any day now.
Was it the pain, or was it just the fact that
The fact that I wasn't gonna experience life anymore. I wasn't scared about the act of dying. It was like FOMO. I was scared about the missing out on life, missing out on, you know, like my friends having kids, me
Yeah.
having kids. You know, I was missing out on all this stuff. So I remember I was having a shower, and I just like collapsed in the shower, just like fetal position, like freaking out.
Really?
Yeah, and that was when I was like, "There's something wrong." So I
How
went to the
old were
hospital.
you?
It was I hadn't met Caitlin yet. I met her later that year, so I was 37.
Oh wow! So it's kind of recent.
No, 30, 35, 36. Yeah,
Okay.
still recent.
Yeah.
And that's the first time death even like our friend's dad died when we were young. That was the first death
yeah.
that I was
Yeah.
closest to, and I mean I didn't think about it. I was still like, oh, I'm young, I'm invincible. But now I've kind of dealt with it a bit, and I'm okay. Like I know I'm gonna die one day. I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't even want people to cry for me that one day. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like I don't know why it just affected me for a while, and I'm okay with like, you know what, life's gonna go on without me, and that's fine. And I'm okay with it. I'm comfortable with it. What gives me comfort is knowing that I don't know when I'm dead.
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
everybody's scared of like, oh, it's gonna be so painful, it's gonna be awful. You don't know. You're just gone. And I don't know if there's light, whatever happens after. I try not to think about that because that's just a whole nother thing. But you know, it's just
That can drive you mad, right?
yeah. I mean, I've always been of the belief is like there's probably something, but because it's too depressing to think that there's nothing, but there might be nothing, and that's okay too.
It's hard to think about like a consciousness just disappearing
Yeah, that's my thing. It's like, how can I be here right now talking to you guys, and then tomorrow it's all gone?
But like before you were born,
There was nothing, right?
yeah. So I don't know.
Growing up, I always thought it's like, oh, it has to be reincarnation. It has to be, right? And then you hear stories where it's like, oh, I remember past lives and stuff, and I'm like, I mean, I hope that's true, but like, I'm not gonna know. I'm not gonna be like a new person being like, oh, I remember when I was Brandon. Like,
Yeah.
you know. So I try not to think about it. I just know it's gonna happen one day, and I hope it's when
Not
I'm old.
bad, yeah.
I hope it's when I'm old and sleeping. But even that's rare. It's just probably not going to happen that way. So you just gotta. I live for the day now. I don't live for the.
So how do you want to be remembered
Just as Brandon,
as Brandon?
like somebody who's like, you know, brings joy to the world, makes people laugh, reliable, good person.
Do you think you've done that so far?
Yeah, I think so.
And so,
I mean, people tell me they like me. So
what do you think your path is for the next 40 years? Is it just the same, or like,
well, I mean, you always want to better yourself. Obviously, I want to get healthier and I want to have kids and all that stuff. But if I think too much about that, then the anxiety picks up again.
yeah, if
Anxiety, like I think I've heard anxiety is fear of the future. Depression is thinking about the past. So I rely on the staying in the now.
that's a good approach.
Try.
Why? What do you think about your next 40 years?
Good question. I don't know. I don't really know a lot in this life, to be honest, about where I'm going and what I want to do. I want to build a community, definitely. Build a media, I don't want to say empire, but just company for now.
Yeah.
But something that, like everything that we're talking about all this negativity, like something that just spreads positivity
Yeah.
in the world, because I think we need more of that.
Yeah, big time.
And the way that you do that is just by embodying it, right?
Yeah.
So, and just talking about whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's more about the build up to it. Like, because you said it can happen instantly, but like with my mom, for example, it was a slow, long, painful one
Yeah.
where I just saw this decline of the human body, right?
Yeah.
Where she was just like 70 pounds by the end. And just like you could see her bones everywhere, right?
Was she in a hospice?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did she ever talk to you about death? Like, because she obviously knew it was kind of coming.
Yeah.
Did she ever talk to you about it?
Not really.
No.
Yeah. But we all knew the night before. Like, my dad had slept in the room because he kind of knew it, that was probably is the last night. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'll stay here too. My mom was like, no, just go back home. Like, she knew that was the last night. And then I got the text message like 6 a.m. or whatever, and I left 6:10, got there, and she was just still warm. And yeah, just laying there. I had like 20 minutes alone with her, and I could feel her becoming cold. Like, it was from warmth to cold when I was with her. And you know, we had like a tumultuous relationship later on, right? And I kind of just forgave her for everything. And I felt this weight come off of me that, you know, maybe in this life you were there to teach me something, but we couldn't reconcile over it, you know? And so, yeah, you know, you just work out things and let go and hold no kind of, you know, anger or anything towards anyone. So, but it did teach me about, yeah, how petty those arguments can be and how really, like, what actually matters in the end, right?
Yeah.
It's not all this surface level bullshit. It's just about the things that haven't changed. Friends, family, like changing the world as best as you can. And
It's true. Sometimes when I think about it, and it's like, oh, we're all equal in death, you know.
Yeah.
It's one of the few things that humans are all equal in.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then sometimes if I start thinking about it and I'm like, well, you know, we're all going to go one day and we're all going to be forgotten. And it makes me feel like, oh, maybe I should start being more direct with people, or like, you know, when something really bothers me, it's like, what difference does it make?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but then I never do. But I like the idea of it.
Yeah. Or like what job you choose, for example, and like what are you willing to dedicate the rest of your life to, you know? That's a tricky one, because at the one level you want to survive, obviously.
Yeah.
But at the other you want to do what fulfills you as well, and what you can make money from that as well.
It's so hard right now because of like AI and stuff coming in. And then you look up the jobs that are sort of AI proof. And it's like, I could start doing that now.
Yeah.
You know, some of
Yeah.
it is like, you know, labor kind of stuff, you know, like be like a carpenter, electrician, plumber, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh, that's really hard work and all this. But then you think about the big picture. It's like, well, I'm going to work for probably another like 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
So maybe I should
Yeah.
start something now.
We're at the weirdest time in
We're
history.
super weird, yeah.
Like, it's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Like,
People said that about cars when they were doing their podcast back. It's like, oh, cars are coming.
cars.
But you know what I mean? Like things are different then.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like a whole new revolutionary thing. This
Yeah,
is just
yeah.
a new form of it.
Right.
We just don't get to hear their thoughts about it back in the day, but I'm sure they were going through a lot of the same shit.
Well, if you're only getting to age 32, 100 years ago,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
we already hit the jackpot.
that's true. We're already.
It's true. You weren't like walking around like, fuck, I hope I don't get polio.
You had mentioned before when you came back, you had some hard conversations with people. Was that like to kind of squash that stuff before like something happened, or like you didn't want to?
Well, that was everything I ran away from here.
Right, but when you came back and you had those, was it more of like, because you said you've been thinking about death and stuff?
Yeah.
Was it like you don't want to die with these grudges or these?
Yeah. I want to leave with everything resolved,
Yeah,
with a smile on my face. That's the one thing that I visualize. Because in Tibetan Buddhism, they have, I basically every morning practice this meditation called Powa. And Powa is like the moment before you die, like just that 1 second, whatever, is like your consciousness or your light, for example, that goes through your 7 chakras up to the crown of your head, and that's what's carried on to the next life. That's what they believe. So if you have like confusion, or if one of them is blocked, then you go to different realms in your next life.
Oh.
So if you don't have those things resolved, then like you could go to the hell realm or whatever, or you know, you want to go with a clean slate.
How do you have a clean slate?
Well, I mean, for me, it's about forgiveness and letting go of, you know, those grudges that you hold to the world.
So then, how do you, what's the word? Like, how do you think about how, like, obviously China is the most, like, Buddhist country in the world, and then you talk about Chinese culture and how it is. How do you think all of them are going to resolve their 7 chakras when it sounds like so many of them are blocked?
Well, I don't know if they're the biggest Buddhist country, because it's not like as big as you would think. Or there's also like the Chinese version of Buddhism, which is so different,
Oh, okay.
because they're like praying for like babies and like more money. And like that's like strengthening the ego, right? So there is that form of Buddhism. That's like a hustler's university form of Buddhism, where you're like, you have all these bad actors promising you, if you do this and pray for this, you're gonna get a kid or money, right?
Yeah.
So I don't. Everyone has their own path, and
It's like, did you see that clip of Dave Ramsey talking about his houses? Do you guys
Who's
know who
that?
that is?
no.
He's like a big, like kind of financial, guru in the U.S. So he has like a podcast and he gives people financial advice and all this.
Yeah.
And anyway, somebody emailed in basically saying like, how do you kind of resolve the idea that of people having, you know, like all these houses, more than one house, but it's like, isn't that chasing greed? Isn't that like one of the worst sins you can commit? And his response was, one, he didn't know how many houses he owned. He owned so many houses. He didn't even know how many. He's like, I got 15, maybe more. I don't even know how many houses I have,
Yeah.
and commercial property. He's like, but you know, I don't own those houses. God owns those houses, and I manage it for him. I was like, holy shit, dude! Like what
Yeah.
form of Christianity is this? Can I
Yeah.
join that? Because apparently you're just psychopaths. You just make up whatever you want and be
Yeah.
like, oh, actually, if I hurt somebody, I'm not actually hurting them. God is hurting them, not me.
Exactly. Yeah.
You-
the
like, you can do
responsibility
anything.
isn't on them, right?
Yeah. If you get in a car accident and you're at fault, be like, I'm not paying insurance for you. God hit you,
Yeah.
not me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like that priest or whatever who he got caught stealing funds from the church,
No.
right? Of course. Yeah. And someone confronted him and said, you know, you have a private jet. Like, wow, what? You know, like, and he's like, yeah, it's God's jet. Like, that's always the excuse. It's
Yeah.
like, it's that like taking that responsibility and then like saying, yeah, I fucked up. Yeah, I did it for this reason. But we again like to avoid shit, right? So I want to leave this earth with nothing avoided. But because that path is more contentious too, because then you actually have to deal with things, right? And
Yeah.
that's the hard part. So I think the next 40 years is dealing with those things, you know, but I think now I'm at a time where I'm more open to talk about that stuff and less more about slinging shit at
Yeah.
other people. Because, you know, you can use in screenwriting, they use that term exposition as ammunition. So you're using certain things against other people to make them feel bad, right? Like, oh, you know, I do the dishes and blah, blah, blah. And in an argument, that's about something else. It's like it
Yeah.
becomes something else. So you're using that stuff against each other, right? So I'm less about that, you know, and more about understanding. So I think whatever consequences that brings, you know, you can never be pure in this life, right? Like
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't be.
as good as
You can try.
yeah,
Yeah. Or when you screw up, you can admit it.
Yeah.
And, you know,
yeah, yeah. Like for me, I have this one nun who, when I first got to the temple, she was the one who basically took the time out of her life to give me all of the teachings.
oh, yeah.
Like she would spend hours and hours with me. I have the book up there where she would speak to me in Tibetan and I would write down the English.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I got all the teachings and all the mantras and stuff. And she would always like skip her meditations and stuff just to give those to me. And she was like a sister. She called me in Tibetan No, which means little brother. So she was like really like meant a lot to me. And about 3 years ago, she got into a car accident with 9 other nuns. The car just fell off the mountain during a rainstorm,
Jesus. What a
And
terrible way to go.
just exploded and dead right then. And the only person that survived was the driver. He had super bad burns, but he managed to survive.
Wow.
But all the 9 nuns just died that instantly. So I have nightmares sometimes about like, what was that moment when you're in when she was like in that van, like being turned upside. It must have been just like complete chaos and panic, right?
Yeah.
And you just have like no time to think, and all of a sudden it's just gone, right?
Yeah.
So that part, like that instantaneousness, fucks with me sometimes. Like it's just safe here right now, but then like, you know, it could be anything,
It
right?
could be,
Whatever. So that's the part that like gets to me sometimes. It's just
Oh yeah.
yeah. So and just like those screams, like
Oh yeah.
yeah. So but something I had to deal with, and
There's like that plane crash in like Toronto, and you know, you're going in for an emergency landing, but they knew that, right? And then the plane hits,
Yeah.
and then it rolls,
yeah.
and I can't even imagine.
God.
You're probably just like don't die, don't die, don't die.
Yeah. Or like, what's his name? Travis Barker.
Oh, the surviving the helicopter crash? Yeah.
Like that must fuck with
Yeah.
you. Like,
Well, even what was that? Remember there's that plane that crashed into the field during 9/11. It was going for one, and,
Oh,
Yeah.
and
and
they
everybody's up there texting their loved ones like, "Hey, this has happened." Like
yeah.
just knowing,
yeah.
like that. I'm the same as you. I always think about. Yeah, you're like that part. It's like you're gonna die,
Yeah.
and there's that, like the planes going down. Like I think about that too. Like what's going through their heads.
I think they made the right choice. You had
too.
you had to try.
Yeah,
Because
me
it's
too.
like they were gone either
one
way.
way or another. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
But-
even, did you see the earthquake in Myanmar?
Yeah.
Yes. And then
The
the building in
apartment.
Thailand just like collapsed. Yeah.
But that's the thing, like, that's what I mean about like earthquakes happening. And I was like, right now, like earthquake happens, this whole house could just like,
Yeah.
and then we're gone. It's just that's the instantaneous part doesn't bother me because it's like it's the time before
Yeah.
that scares me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It scares me. Yeah.
But I'm a man, so nothing scares me.
Also
Suck
true.
it up, baby. Have you had any close calls with death?
I don't know. I've been in like car accidents. I was in a car accident, pretty bad one when I was a kid, but we were all fine.
Are you just remembering things? And you're like, oh shit, I couldn't move for 3 months.
No, I don't think so. You?
Yeah. I've had a few
Oh, really?
close calls. Yeah.
What happened?
Well, one of them, I was almost murdered.
Go on.
You don't just, you gotta tell the rest of the story. You can't just
Like, and then another time. Yeah.
This was like in 2010, I would say.
Where were you then?
I was in Beijing.
You're in Beijing.
Yeah, and that it must have been 2011 because my teacher and his family came to Beijing, and there was like all these monks and nuns with us, probably 10 people in total. And we went to this famous mountain, like about 10-hour drive from Beijing. It's where a lot of like the big lamas and rinpoches would meditate and stuff.
Okay.
So it was pretty important to my teacher. And so we went there, and there's like 5 different temples. And so we spent a couple days seeing all of them. And the last temple that we went to, Helen was taking a photo, and it says no photography, right? But she thought she could get away with it because all the other temples, she would take photos and stuff. They said,
yeah.
okay, don't worry. But this one monk saw her and went over to her and pulled the camera away from her. And they got into like a pulling match.
Oh, it was like a camera. It wasn't like a phone.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
it was
yeah.
a camera. It's like 2010, 11, something.
Yeah.
And so I saw it from a distance because I was just looking at it. I was like, what the fuck? And so I kind of like sprinted over. And then this other monk comes and sees them like kind of pulling back and forth, and he runs away. And out of nowhere, all these construction workers come with hatchets, axes, baseball bats, and they tell the other visitors to leave. And they basically put a chain around the front entrance, and we were trapped. And all these guys come, and they're like on a higher step, and we're like below them. Like literally monks and nuns in red robes are down here, and construction workers are like threatening. It's a shouting match. Like it's fucking insane. And
What did the construction workers want? Her to give the camera too?
they thought that we were stealing something. We found out later on that that's what went through their mind and sparked all this stuff. And they thought we were disrespecting the monks. And so, there's this guy literally right above me with a baseball bat. And I threw it away, like he's like threatening. And so he almost calmed down and I pushed out, and that's when the whole thing started. And he swung it on my ass. I was lucky enough to turn it, but I had a huge bruise on my ass, and all hell broke loose. Like the monks and nuns started just beating the shit out of each other. And one of our monks, his name's Wang Jar, he got hit with a baseball bat right here. It was just blood streaming down his face. And it just scared the living shit out of us until after about 2 minutes of just absolute chaos, it just died down. They started to leave. And yeah, that's when we were just trapped there, just crying. Like all of us are just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it could have been death.
Yeah.
So during that fight, I realized afterwards that there's this one monk, his name's Akanima, which means the sun, like the monk of the sun. He saved my life. There was someone that had a hatchet, like I didn't see it, but he was pulling down the hatchet right on the back of my neck. And Akanima swiped it out at the last second, or else I would have been dead. And he brings it up every time I see him. He's like, yeah, I saved your life. So, I mean, I didn't even see it, but I think about what that feeling could be like sometimes if you get that, right?
Yeah.
Like absolute pain, right? And so, yeah, we're all just crying. Like, what the fuck do we do? And the front entrance is just chained. So after a while, they let us go. They undid the chain. And my teacher's son was sleeping in the van, and we're all like crying, like, let's go. And he's like, what the fuck happened in the temple? Like, it's a goddamn temple, right? So we went to the hospital because the monk needed stitches, and the police came, and they were just basically laughing at us. Like, I was like, yeah, they hit me in the ass, and they're like, oh, don't worry. They didn't want it to be a thing, right?
Yeah.
So they didn't do shit. And so the monk got 6 stitches. And later on, the people who owned that temple came to the hotel, and they found out that that was my teacher that they did it to. And they knew him. Like, he's somewhat recognizable in China. And they apologized so much. And they said, oh, we didn't know it was you. We didn't so what actually happens is a lot of people who are kind of arrested for petty crimes or have done petty crimes, they escape and become monks.
Oh.
So
I see.
You get a lot of those kind of criminal types in some of these distant temples, and this one was super distant. So essentially in the Tibetan tradition, for every stitch that you give or that you have, you're supposed to repay back 10,000 RMB, which is about $2,000 US. So he's like, okay, well, you give 60,000 RMB and then we'll call it even. So the monks went to the bank, and within 10 minutes they brought, whatever that was, $10,000 or whatever, and then he just donated it to a temple. But it was like, okay, that's your payback. You got it. So yeah, that was.
So that's one.
That was one, yeah. Yeah, that was one I think about often. The other was just hypothermia. We were sleeping outside in this place called Qinghai Lake. It's one of the largest, or it is the largest saltwater lake in the world.
Okay.
And it's in the Tibetan area. And so we went there and we were sleeping outside for a week. And I just got shit-faced drunk one night with some of the guys there. And I ended up passing out in one of these tents, but there's just no heat. But
Yeah.
they put a lot of blanket on me, but I woke up like 3 a.m. or something, just couldn't feel anything. And I'm like super drunk, so I'm like shouting. I'm like, help, help. And I remember like I'm walking and tripping everywhere. Like I don't have a sense of direction. Like I would get up and just be help, and then fall to the ground, and I would just keep doing this, and it's like 3 in the morning, and then the monk who got the 6 stitches,
Yeah.
he found me, and he started his car, and after a few minutes, finally got heat to
Yeah.
the car, so I finally could cool down, but I didn't feel anything for about a week. Like I was on the bus ride back with Helen and just crying the whole time. Like I was like, I don't want to go. Like it's too early for me. I was like 27, 28, whatever. I was like,
Yeah.
it's too. And we were on the flight. I was watching this Marlon Brando documentary, which if you haven't seen it, you gotta see it. But I was just crying nonstop. Like I don't want to die yet. Like I'm too young. But it took like a week to get any sense of feeling back. Like it was
Wow.
scary. It was like I was close. Like who knows what would have happened. But,
You know, it's terrifying. Is one of the last stages of hypothermia. So like, so your blood leaves all your extremities, right, and it goes to your like core to try to keep you warm. You know, to keep your organs going. But eventually, it can't hold it anymore. Like it takes too much energy, and so all this warm blood goes back out to your extremities. So what people do is they take their clothes off because they think they're burning up.
oh,
Yeah. So
Interesting.
they'll find like naked people like in the snow because, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I think those were the two closest things, and just like God knows how many hangovers I woke up where I'm like, God, how did I survive that night? It's like
I mean, you hear about like people falling asleep wrong, you know, like on their arm and stuff, and then some people like literally they have damage from it because they have nerve damage because they laid on their arm and no blood got to their arm for like 8 hours. And you think about when we were young, and it's just like, fuck, I'm so glad none of that shit ever happened to me. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's we got lucky, right? Yeah, because I mean, I don't know. I always tell people if they want to go see a completely different life, like go to China or India, because like as a kid there, you're just like on your own doing shit, right? Like you should hear some stories from Jess's childhood, just
Why?
like
Because the parents are just working too much?
yeah.
Yeah.
And like she's just on her own, like even cooking for herself as a kid and stuff, and like being just like kind of abandoned in a way. Like I think a lot of Chinese kids feel that at some point because the parents just had to work all the time, and there is that sense of like, well, you weren't there for me, but they're like, well, we were trying to do our best for you. So there's that like communication that happens between generations now.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, you can talk to your parents in an open way now, but there's still so much work to be done,
Yeah.
Yeah. But, so death?
Like, have I ever almost died?
Yeah.
Twice. Once I was a kid, I don't remember it, but my parents say I was jumping on their bed, and I must have done something, and I knocked over their armoire, and the armoire basically almost like crushed me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but it missed or something. But my parents like, yeah, like you would have killed you. And the only other time was I was driving to BC, and like going to like down to I think it's Revelstoke. It's like pretty winding on the mountains. I was in I had that old Ford Ranger, and I was taking a corner and I hit like a rock, and it like for whatever reason my whole truck like bounced into the other lane, like the way I hit it. And so I was like in the other lane coming around this corner and another car was coming and I just missed him.
Really?
Just like
Oh, God.
inches. I was with Steph at the time. And because we're following my parents down. And I could see my dad like I looked for my dad's in the window and he was like this close. I could see his hand. And that was like the closest I've ever been.
Do you think about that moment?
No.
I'm gonna think about that moment.
Okay, like for me, there's no point. I didn't hit the guy. I'm okay. Move on. That's very much how I live my life. I can't think about it or I'm just gonna lay awake. Like you guys have seen me sleep at night. It's like I'm out. Instantly it's because I don't think about this shit. It drives my wife nuts too because I don't think about anything like that. There's no point. Move forward.
So you don't think about it or you avoid it?
There's nothing to like. It happened. It happened. I'm not avoiding it. It happened. There's nothing to think about.
I guess when I was like, I don't know if I was 2 or 3, but we were staying in a motel. And I can't remember if my parents found me or if it was like their friends that found me. But anyways, in the middle of the night, I got up and I went outside and I went to the pool. And they found me with like dangling my feet in the water.
Say that again.
So I was like 2 or 3, I don't remember how old. And we were in a motel, and they woke up in the middle of the night, and I had wandered out, and I was sitting with my feet in the pool.
Oh. And?
If they hadn't have found me, there's a good chance I would have drowned.
But you were just sitting on the side of the pool.
But that's like what kids do. Kids do
oh,
stupid
okay.
things.
Because you're 2 or 3, right? Yeah.
Caitlin has told me a story about it because her family, they had hay, so they would farm, right? And she would walk in the fields with her AirPods in, or earphones, and they're bailing. So the machine's like coming at her, and she's walking through the field, she can't hear anything.
my God.
And I guess her dad would get mad at her, like, what the fuck are you doing, kind of thing. So she has more close to death stories than I do.
Yeah.
Because she lives on a farm. Like, she was thrown off a horse when she was like 10 or 13. She broke her back and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
farm life.
Yeah, farm life.
Yeah.
Like once I had a pig attack me.
Yeah. But I think I haven't been almost murdered. But like as kids, we were pretty lucky. We didn't.
It's true. There's lots of.
We played video games. We didn't go play on the streets.
Yeah.
No, we did. We did both.
No, we'd walk to Max, buy a bunch of junk, and
I seem to remember going to the hospital because Jordan hurt himself on the park, and then me and Matt were running for help.
That's true.
And I fell and got a concussion. And
Yeah.
yeah, how old were you? Like 16, 17?
we were
Playing on an
too old
elementary
for,
school park, and two of my friends
I
got
think I've
concussions.
had too many head injuries. As a goalie too. I was like, shit.
Yeah, I have had too many injuries too. Too many scars.
Now it's the only injuries I get are when I get out of bed.
Yeah.
Hurt my
Yeah.
back.
Exactly. No, I think about that sometimes, like how many bones need to be broken and stuff in the future. Like, how much more do we have to endure?
I don't know. I'm so clumsy. I worried. Yeah.
Like when I was 25, I fractured my ankle pretty bad. And then it took about 9 months for it to recover. But now every about, I would say 3 years, I just roll it really bad. 2 or
Yeah.
3 years, like just after I proposed to Jess, we were walking down a hill and it just rolled. And it's like, I have to like hobble back. Like, I'm like, okay, so I'm probably gonna need surgery. Like, okay, it's not never gonna recover the way that it used to, right?
Yeah.
And it's like injuries compile, like in 20 years you're gonna have to deal with this. And I'm just like, can I just play GoldenEye?
Do you see it in your parents? Because I see it in my dad. Like now it's like his knees are like shot to shit, and I'm just like, fuck. Like,
Yeah.
is that what it's gonna be like? It's just like,
What's your ideal way to go?
sleeping.
Sleeping?
Yeah, probably sleeping.
Sleeping with nobody home. Because I don't want I don't want anybody to find me. That's my biggest fear.
I would like somebody to find me fairly quickly so that they don't find me when I start to stink.
No, like I want to, like I guess I want to be like in a old folks home, sleeping.
Yeah.
You know,
When my
Old
Do
folks
you
home.
really want to be in an old folks home? At a certain point, you're just like, God, why am I here?
You get fed. They clean your room.
wipe your ass.
They wipe my ass for me. I get to watch TV all day.
Yeah, but you're usually in there for a reason, which is
Yeah, I'm old. No, it's like honestly, like my biggest fear is somebody finding me. Like I have a heart attack. My wife's
Like-
gone all day, and then like she comes home and like she finds me. That's my biggest fear.
Yeah.
But if I'm gonna go, obviously I want to go peacefully in my sleep, or something quick, like just something quick. I don't want to.
Or in a war or some sorts.
totally in a war. That'd be great.
That sounds
Good way to
horrible.
go.
If I'm in a war, I guess I want to get hit by a sniper. So it's like I don't see it coming, and I'm just gone. But
I remember like just a few times when you like play paintball and someone has you pinned down. It's just like, and you're just like, oh my god! If those were real bullets, it'd just be like, I don't even know.
Yeah, like those wars in Greece or something. Like, God, imagine experiencing that.
You mean like in ancient times kind
Yeah.
of thing? Oh yeah, yeah.
That's like what your whole life is for. That's your purpose,
Yeah, you're born
right?
to
Like
do it, yeah.
you're just like, I want to throw rocks by the ocean. They're like, no, fight.
apocalypse might not be too bad way to go. Everybody
Oh,
goes.
the apocalypse?
Everybody
yeah.
goes.
Except if you're one of the ones who like survives, and now you gotta wander the earth until you.
I mean, that might be okay. Get quieter.
Well, we should do another episode of this in the future. Death number 2. It
wanna
can
do
be
that?
like a running theme throughout the podcast.
Death.
Yeah.
We're gonna get a lot of people wanting
Good
to
stuff.
listen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll have the most comments.
On death,
Yeah.
maybe.
it's true.
Yeah. Feel free to comment about your favorite way to go. Tell us about a time you almost died.
Yeah.
That would be a good conversation starter for our Instagram.
Or well, when we hit the streets doing
Yeah.
interviews with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, street interviews. Yeah. How do you
Yeah.
want to die?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not like, how do you rate this person from 1 to 10?
And then you could dunk water on them and be like, "It's just a prank. It's just a prank."
Oh,
We'll do a prank channel.
so funny. Oh, prank show would be the best.
Or we rate deaths.
I'm not watching. I'm not ranking death.
That would be the prank. You like have a gun and you like point it at them, and it's like, "Huh, you thought you were gonna die. How do you want to go in the future?"
They're just pissing themselves.
It's weird though. Like I find like I'm less afraid of death now than I was when I was younger.
Yeah.
The closer I am to it, the less I am afraid of it. I guess.
But also, we're so old. Like, and we have no kids.
We say we're old because we're older than we were, but we're really not that old.
But when our kids are 20, we'll be 60. We'll basically be useless.
Basically, what? I wouldn't say my
How
parents are
old your
useless.
dad?
Well, he had me when he was 26. I'm
Yeah.
40, right?
Yeah, my
So,
parents are.
So
60.
how old is he?
70 now.
And he's still working. Is he
Yeah.
useless?
My parents are 62.
But I'm 40.
They're not useless.
Anyways,
Anyway, look out for episode 2 on that. We should have a death expert too. We should.
They're not around anymore. They're dead.
nice.
How can you be an expert on death? Nobody knows what happens.
Well, we have Bruce Willis, right?
Okay. Oh, from The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, that took me a second too, and I was like,
Deep
"Good
reference.
lord!"
I was like, he's like really sick right now. Like,
I was like,
I didn't need
yeah,
that part.
I thought that was the reference too. I was like, "Jesus, we're going real dark here."
on that note,
On that note,
Yeah. All right. Thanks for joining us. Yeah.
until next time.
Yeah.